Oh, hi. So in this recording, right, I'm just going to explain you about some data warehouse concept, right, which is minimally needed if you are going to present saying in your interview, like you have some data warehouse knowledge. Maybe you are not working in any data warehouse platform earlier, but you can say uh, you when you are working in the big data platform, you got to know about some data warehouse concepts, okay? Because like you have worked in migrating some data warehouses to your big data platform. Regardless you are from data warehouse background or not, you can just mention some concepts which is really needed, right? When you explain in your interview. So this particular recording will show you how you can talk about some data warehouse concepts and how you can explain you have enabled these data warehouse concepts in Spark. Okay, altogether that is the concept behind this particular recording. Okay, so the evolution of OLTP to OLAP happened because of the evolution of database to data warehouse happened. Maybe when we were teaching, when we start about the complete teaching, right, we will talk about how the evolution of big data have happened. But in that one, you can see the evolution of OLTP, that is a database to data warehouse, have happened earlier, right? So in such a way, if you consider OLTP, it is all about online transaction processing, right? Any transaction that happens in the end system or in the kind of a point of sale system, right, where you go to a shop and purchase something, that could be a transaction, where you can see a huge volume of transaction happens, where a quicker data processing will happen. The concentration will be more in terms of processing the data rather than analyzing it. The data will be stored in a normalized fashion. You know that, right? The sense like I store the data by splitting a wider table into smaller tables of more narrow tables. If I have all the data in one place, customer information, product information, geographical information, and the transaction information in one table, if I maintain, there will be a huge chance for getting duplicates, or I have a huge challenge of maintaining huge number of columns in a single table. That is not good for a transactional system, basically, right? So in order to have a proper transactional system, I will split the data into many tables. In this OLTP system, you can quickly find who bought this particular product, or I wanted to update some quick product information, or the sales information, or insert some transaction that happened. I will go to the transactional system, basically. But if you wanted to know about how many people have purchased a product in a particular date, or in a past 1 month, or in 1 year, we'll go towards maintenance of OLAP system. So OLAP can be achieved. OLAP is all about online analytical processing, which can be achieved by creating a data warehouse platform. In the data warehouse, you will be storing the warehouse of data. So in the transactional system, you will not store the warehouse. It is more about like you have a showroom and you are going to maintain a warehouse to maintain all the products in your warehouse. So if you maintain all this data, the transactional data on a daily basis into a warehouse, you can perform online analytical processing on top of it. Like the OLAP system will have high volume of data. You will write slower queries, in the sense like when you write a query, it may take very longer time to execute. Maybe it may take from seconds to minutes to complete, because it is going to consume huge volume of data. It is going to be mainly used for analyzing the data. Since we are going to write queries regularly, it has to be optimized, in the sense like the data, the way how it's stored has to be in a denormalized fashion. It should not be having a huge normalization applied, in the sense all the data will be kept in one or fewer tables. Maybe like you will have one table called cust prod trans. So it will contain the customer ID, product ID, transaction ID, and transaction information. If you want to expand and see some detailed view, you will have some other tables in the other side to maybe like get some additional information. That is how it will go with respect to the online analytical processing system. So we have something called fact and dimension in data warehouse particularly. Okay, so maybe the flow how it will go in terms of data warehouse will be like there are different stages are there, starting from data acquisition till the data analysis, right? Data warehouse have several stages. Maybe I can say if you have the data received in a file system, right? You may grab the data and keep it in a staging layer. Staging layer is all about a file system or a database. Temporary database tables, you may store the data. Then what you may do, 1 second guys. So I think like there is some disturbance I'm getting. Okay, so let me continue. I got the disturbances reduced maybe. Okay. So we have mainly two concepts in data warehouse. So primarily I told you have several layers. Okay. So I'm not showing that over here, but however, I mean, you can just think about it actually, like there are several layers like data staging layer, right? That is the primary part when the data will be acquired, or when you get some data from some source system, it will be kept in the staging layer for some period of time. You can consider like Kafka, or you can consider like HDFS file system. Like that, in data warehouse, they'll be using the database tables itself or a Linux file system itself for storing the data for some period of time, for the staging period. So after that, once the data is being stored in the staging, right, it could be taken to a layer called operational data store, ODS layer. Okay, so where you will have several warehouse tables will be created basically. That is called a warehouse actually, data warehouse, where I'll be maintaining maybe up to 1 year or 6 months worth of data. So why we have these layers, the staging layer main purpose is to keep the data temporarily for a day or a week, because if you want, you can just get those source data once again from that layer rather than going to the original source system. That is one part. So if you go to the warehouse layer, right, the operational data store layer, from where the staging layer, from staging layer, this operational data store layer will get the data, and in that ODS layer, you can see the data that is being identified with the keys or with the joined information from different sources, merging or data munging. All those activities will happen, and the collected data or the joined data or a kind of a primary consolidated data will be stored in that layer. Okay. The final layer is going to be the mart actually, like that is the place where the user will go and query to identify or to analyze the data. The OLAP activities will happen at the mart layer basically. So the ODS layer will contain all domain data. Maybe like it could have finance data, or it could have customer transaction data, it could have banking data, or even it could have sort of like product information. Like everything could be kept in one layer basically. But whereas in one place, that is called operational data store. But from there, the data will be divided into subject area, in the sense like all the finance data will go to a mart number 1. That's called that could be called as a fin mart. Some other mart may be created that will contain the transaction information. We can call it as a trans mart. So some other set of data will go to different mart layers basically. That is the final layer, where the other mart may contain fleet information. That could be a fleet mart. Like this, you can have some mart called big data mart. Big data mart in the sense, if from the data warehouse, whoever wanted to send the data to the big data platform, they'll store those data into the big data mart actually. Like this, it may have the final layer called data mart. Okay, so in the data mart, we will be having the tables, type of tables. These are all just tables only. Facts and dimension are all just types of tables. Okay, in that mart, we may have the fact and dimension tables kept actually. Like particularly in the mart, we'll have the fact tables. If you consider in this image, if you can see procurement fact and sales fact is there. So all the procurement information of different products could be kept in this one of the mart called procurement mart, which contains a table called procurement fact. Okay, maybe this procurement fact is going to collect the data from different the surrounding tables you are seeing, vendor, buyer, purchase order, all could be considered as a dimension tables. So what is a fact table? A table which contains factuals or measures. Those table is called as a fact table. For example, if you consider in our case, you can say the transaction table, what we used to use in Hive could be a fact table. If you consider the customer table, or if you consider a product table, or if you consider a purchase order table, anything can be considered as a dimension, basically. So that dimension will contain, for example, if you take product table might contain product ID, product name, product category, product genre. These information will be kept in the product table, which is dimensions, right? So product dimension we'll call it as. For example, if the fact contains the product ID and the amount the product is sold for, the quantity, how many products has been sold and which date it has been sold, then we'll be keeping that in the procurement fact table. But if you wanted to know about, I mean, like which product has been sold, what is the category of the product, what genre it belongs to, then you can join the table called product dimension table with the procurement fact table to understand which product has been procured, or which product has been procured, which belongs to what category. Like those information you can enrich in a fact table by joining with the dimension table surrounding it. So this is the overall concept behind. So you can consider like facts are like a transaction table or a detail table. Dimension are all like a master table. This is the overall concept behind this facts and dimensions. Okay. If we just see here, this could be an example for the fact and dimension. You can see here, I have a fact table called fact revenue, right? In that fact table, I have maybe like billing date, salesperson ID, order date, customer key, marketing key. Like those keys are all kept here along with the amount, the value, right? So if you wanted to get more customer information, you'll join with the customer table. That is a dimension table. If you see in the top, there is a customer table, right? You can join with the customer table based on the customer key, and you can enrich this fact table by adding more fields like name, type, first contact date, or segment ID, status code, or whichever the column you want to enrich. You can enrich by performing a join with this fact table with the corresponding dimension as per your need. Okay, so this is all about the fact and dimension. So if you see here, you have a centralized fact which is going to connect with several dimensions to enrich the fields as per the need. So this is the example for a fact and a dimension table. Okay, let us consider about something called star schema and snowflake schema. So this might be asked in the interview. If you go for a data warehouse interview and all, this is an obvious question. What type of schema your organization is using, or are you into star schema, or do you know what is a star schema? Like those questions might be asked. So star schema is nothing different. If you see here in this example, if you don't have a segment table in the left side, that means the customer is expanded with the segment table. Customer is a dimension table already, but we are having one more dimension table stored in the other side called segment. If you want to get the detailed information of the segment, you have to go and join customer segment along with the fact table. Otherwise, you can't get the segment information. So if you avoid that segment table in the left side, if you have only a direct connectivity with the fact table and the dimension table, we call that schema as a star schema. So if you will be understanding in the next example, when I talk about snowflake schema, you will understand what is star schema is all about. So star schema will looks like a star symbol. You can see here, right? One fact table will be surrounding with multiple dimension tables. Maybe one dimension table might not be expanded. You will be having only one dimension table actually. You will not have connected dimension table in case of star schema. For example, employee dimension, if I have, means I'll have all the employee information in the dimension table. You will not store the detailed employee information in another table. If that is the case, and if that is the case, if I go right, that represents you are going with the snowflake schema. If you see here, for example, if you see customer is a table, which is a dimension table. The customer table is expanding to a customer type. So that represents you have you haven't stored all the customer information in single table. You are storing it in two tables. On demand basis, you may expand it. So this sales items is the fact table. Sales item is expanding with products, time, locations. But location is expanding. Location is a dimension table. Territory is a dimension table. Customer is a dimension table. Customer type is a dimension table. If you see here, the expansion of dimension table may happen in addition actually. That represents it is a snowflake schema. So you can see here, there is a concept called snowflake schema over here. So this is the two concepts what will be asked actually, star schema or snowflake schema. So you have to understand what is this star schema is about and snowflake schema is about. Star schema represents more of direct connectivity. Snowflake schema represents more of a chained connectivity. Maybe like in snowflake schema, you'll have multiple dimension tables connected to each other. In star schema, directly the dimension table will be connected only with the fact table. So this is the overall concept behind snowflakes and star. If we go to something called slowly changing dimension, the main part what we have to really see about, okay? In this example, I have given both the examples. What is the slowly changing dimension number 1 and 2? We have several types actually, like starting from slowly changing dimension 1, we have 2, 3, like this. We have different concepts actually. So I am going to mainly concentrate on 1 and 2 because that is the market used slowly changing dimensions. But first of all, what is slowly changing dimension? So the name itself says, you know what is dimension table now? Right? So you can see here, in this case, employee dim is a dimension, product dim is a dimension, customer dim, shipper dim, time dim. These are all the dimension tables. Okay. Several dimension tables are variable. That means several dimension tables maybe keep on growing, okay, or changing. Several dimension tables might not be changing. Several dimensions are fixed dimensions. For example, time dimension, if you take the left side, if you see, right, the time dimension will not be changing. For example, you will create the calendar for another 10 years or 20 years or even 100 years and keep that as a dimension table. That dimension table will not change at all. But whereas product dimension, you can't assure. Today a product might be available, tomorrow it might not be available. Or today a product might belongs to a particular category, tomorrow it might belongs to a different category. Like this, you can have the dimension table might be keep on changing. How do you manage this change in big data platform? That is what ultimately we are going to see. But if you see this particularly, if you see a product dimension table or any other dimension table, it may be keep on growing. For example, if we take that product as an example, for example, you have different types of slowly changing dimension. Type 1 represents in a slowly changing dimension. For example, product table I'm going to maintain. I will not be maintaining the history of the change that happened. For example, if you see in the left side dimension product, right? I have a product ID P1 with customer, the product name ABC, price of 10 rupees, and the packaging type is paper. If you have, this is the product value maintained for product ID P1 in a table. Tomorrow you are going to change this price from 10 to 20. That is slowly changing. Very rarely it may be changing. Not daily I may change the product price. So if you have such a dimension table, then we'll call it as not a SCD dimension. We'll call it as a rapidly growing dimension. There are different types out there, but mainly people used to concentrate on slowly changing dimensions. For example, the question might be, how do you accommodate this change in big data platform? Because the big data storage layer, wherever you are using, is not prone for changes. It is write once, read many. So once you have written with the price of 10 rupees for a product P1, how do you update it? This is the question what will be asked. Okay, either using SCD 1 or 2, whatever the type you are going to use, you may be asked with the question saying, okay, how do you implement SCD concept in your big data platform using Spark or Hive or anything else? So SCD type 1 represents, I don't want to maintain the history. If a product ID P1 is having a price of 10 rupees today, tomorrow it is going to change as 20 rupees. I want to replace this 10 with 20. So I'll be maintaining only one record for product P1. If this is the case, we call it as slowly changing dimension type 1. What is type 2 represents, you want to maintain the history. Maybe like if you see the second image in the down, type 2 maintains the history of your older value and the current value also. So that represents, if you wanted to go back and see what was my previous value, or if you are generating report for last month, maybe for the last month, the product price is $10 or 10 rupees, right? If you generate a report for how much sales have happened last month, if you wanted to see, right, you have to see with 10 rupees, not with 20 rupees, because last month the product price was only 10 rupees. I sold this product for about 100 products I sold, means I sold it only for 1,000 rupees. Now it's not, it doesn't mean like you sold it for 2,000 rupees last month. But this month with version 0, if you see, right, you can see it is only 10 rupees. But this month, if you are going to see, you have to put with the recent value. That is version number 1. So in order to track the previous changes happened, in order to maintain that history, we'll go with the type called type 2, slowly changing dimension type 2. For example, you wanted to maintain only the current and immediate, only previous version alone, not older, all older versions. For example, that is the chance in this second type, slowly changing dimension 2. If the product price started with 10 rupees originally, then it has been changed to 20, then changed to 30, then changed to 40. Now it has reached rupees 100. The same product P1 have reached rupees 100 now, today. That could be, there could be a chance of doing that. So if that is the case, you will see how many versions, the version will be keep on increasing, and you may maintain 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 9 versions for 100 rupees. So if you just think in that way, right, if you want to go to a older version, we can filter that version and see when initially it was started with how many rupees, then after several versions it increased to how much amount. Maybe you can maintain the date also, the date of commencing or date of ending also, the expiry date and the starting date also. That is another way what is being used in slowly changing dimension. There are different ways used actually. There is a way called flagging, or there is a method called date maintenance, or you may be maintaining the versions. So what I'm going to show is version. Maybe like in a later point of time, I can show you how to maintain the date also. Anything is fine actually. You have to mention any one of the method what you have followed actually. So we are going to see type 1 and type 2 in our coding actually. So that is what the overall